In person. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Triggered AF, the podcast. It's your girl, Danny and Alicia, and we are just so excited for this episode. I feel like there's so much conversation around not just beauty, but the standards of beauty, the effects of social media on beauty. And we've been wanting to talk about it, but we just couldn't really find like the perfect person to really have that conversation. But now we did. So I am so happy and so honored to bring in beauty influencer. She is just a force to be reckoned with. I mean, she's so incredible. She's so down to earth. You would think somebody with like 150,000 followers would be all bougie, but she is just the coolest of the cool chicks. Please welcome Yuliya Lee.
Hi guys. Oh my God, thank you for such an introduction. I was laughing. And yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. I would be more than happy to share some things if this can help someone or like inspire someone maybe, or just feel kind of on the same page with me. That would be great.
Yes, that's what it's all about, you know, and it's all about just cultivating that community of a variety of people in your circle. And I just thought that you would be an interesting perspective to give to people. Being a beauty influencer, a lot of times people put you, I'm sure, in a box, right? That you're just this one way and all you care about is how you look. And they probably don't know how brilliant you are or how caring or nurturing you are, you know? So I really wanted to have an influencer come in and kind of give that other side of influencing, because a lot of times it's just you're this person with, some people don't even like to say that influencing is a real job when it's a lot of work, right? So anyways, we'll talk about all that stuff, but I first wanted to start with, how do you define beauty?
That's a good question. Well, to me, beauty is being the best version of yourself, inside and out. Because to me, beauty was never something just about physical, about your appearance, even though I'm a makeup artist and I actually work with your appearance. It was never about just like the physical part. I truly believe that beauty is a combo.
Beauty is a combo. I love that. I love that, because for especially now, and don't get me wrong, there's absolutely nothing with it. If you want to nip and tuck and snip and do all the things, live your best life. But I sometimes wonder, you know, where along the line did we forget that no matter how much you change in your appearance, if your inside doesn't feel beautiful or your inside doesn't feel worthy or confident, no matter how many times, no matter how many rounds you go under the knife or make changes, it's not going to change how you feel.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It may change how you look, but it will not change like how you feel. So with, you know, being that you work with, you know, enhancing the outer appearance so that you're your best self, what would you say has been like, you know, one of the greatest lessons that you've learned about not only staying true to yourself, but doing so while you're building like a beauty-based like brand and business?
Well, in my case, I had to build my own brand by myself. And what I've learned, well, first of all, you have to be committed, truly committed, because the more I work in this industry, the more I feel like you have to go all in. You can't just start something and just do it from time to time, or whenever you have good mood, or whenever you have free time. You have to be committed. You have to believe in yourself. That's the second lesson I've learned, because I started roughly a year and a half ago working in the beauty industry as a beauty influencer. I actually don't like the word beauty influencer, to be honest.
Ooh, okay. What do you
It's
prefer?
called beauty influencer, but I don't consider myself as an influencer. I would say I'm just the girl who had a big dream because I'm not from the US, and I had a big dream to become someone in the beauty industry, but I was kind of scared, but I still had this belief that I can do it if I really commit. So that's what I started doing a year and a half ago. And this belief and 100% of commitment definitely worked for me a year and a half later. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. That whole, I decided to go all in. Like, and every person's all in is different. So being willing to go completely all in, to give it all you got, and to do so consistently, I feel like that can sometimes accelerate your path to what it is that you want.
Yeah.
Simply because you're putting all of your attention on something, you know?
All your energy.
Yeah. Your aroma. You can't help when you, no matter where you walk and go, it's like, no, this is who I am. This is who I embody, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I know that you are not American, right? So I want to talk a little bit about your cultural upbringing and kind of how it impacted how you see yourself, because we had your sister Olga Lee on the podcast. And I think is it Kazakhstan?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, see, all right. My memory is my mom brain sometimes don't be all the way there, but today
you got it.
And you guys are also Korean, which is this fascinating blend that I didn't know exists until I met Olga. But I was like, an Asian girl named Olga, what's your story? What's happening? And then another Asian girl named Yuliya, which is like, where you guys, like, what's happening? So I wanted to talk a little bit about how because she talked about your upbringing around how it really made her strong and able to withstand rejection. I wanted to kind of talk about a different aspect of that with how has your upbringing kind of impacted how you see yourself?
Okay. Thank you for this question, by the way. You know, like, you ask me such questions that really train my brain and make me like think about. I love it. These are like the typical questions, like, when did you start feeling that you want to be a makeup artist? And I'm like, okay. But oh well, I don't know. Our family is very close. First of all, like we got each other's back from the very beginning, and what I love about my childhood, speaking of our parents, they always told us that first of all, you are responsible for everything you do since we were kids, which I love. And let me give you an example. Like when I was in, I would say second, third grade, from time to time, I would try to skip lessons. And I would be like in the morning, Mom, can I just skip a day today? So since that time, when I was a baby, she would tell me, okay, do you think you can do it? Like, is it going to have a bad impact on your studying tomorrow? And she put all this responsibility on me. So me making this decision, I knew that it's going to be on me. And if I said yes, I understood that I have to make it happen tomorrow. So next time when I ask her, she would trust me. So
I like that.
Honestly, today it helped me a lot because since that time, I knew that whenever decision I take, I am responsible for my decision. That's number one. Number two, they always gave me the freedom of choice, which I love, and I'm so grateful, because being a child in Kazakhstan, where the makeup artistry in general was so banned, like it wasn't even a profession till I would say last few years. Yeah. So makeup artistry was just like a fun thing. And since I was a baby, I told that I want to be a makeup artist. And I'm so happy that my parents gave me this choice and they supported me. So today, me being here, starting pretty late for some people who know me, because I am 32. And a lot of people who know me since that time, they would be like, "Oh my God, are you trying to change the whole life, like, into makeup industry and like being a beauty influencer? Because this is not a stable job, let's say. It's an art. Today you're inspired, tomorrow not. Today you're catching the wave, tomorrow you're not." And I was like, yes, and I'm grateful to my childhood, to my parents, to my sister, because they were the base who, so far till today, they got my back. And I know that everything I do, I am responsible, but still, they're behind me and they're supporting me. Yeah.
I really like that.
That's so important. Yeah.
Knowing you have support for no matter what you decide to do.
But knowing that it's on you.
That's my parenting style. I'm not into forcing my daughter to do all the things.
Okay.
Like, I'm not into you have to do this, you have to do this. I think I'm lying. The only thing that I have forced her to do is learn Mandarin. Learning Mandarin is the only thing that I force and require her to do, but everything else, I'm like, live your best life. If you want to play the piano, okay, we sign you up for piano lessons. You want to run track, okay, cool, we sign you up for track. Like, I want her to be okay with exploring, because I want her to know, like, hey, there are so many pieces and parts of you that you get to figure out, like, what you really like, what excites you, what you enjoy. Now, like I said, the only thing is Mandarin. That's the only thing I'm forcing her to do. Like, sorry, sis, you're going to learn this good Mandarin. Whether you like it or not, you'll thank me later.
Yeah.
You'll learn this good Mandarin. And it's so crazy because as I've been raising her, her dad and I are polar opposites. And with our parenting styles being so different, she would sometimes tell me she feels like she can't make a mistake and that she has to be perfect. And the feeling of having to be perfect and not being able to make a mistake, it can be crippling, right?
Of course.
And so how do you, being in the industry to where perfection kind of is the goal, how do you handle like the pressure to appear perfect?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I want to find out so I can take some of these gems, start giving them to my daughter. Like, okay, so this is what we're going to do now. So how do you handle that pressure?
Well, honestly, I've never tried to be perfect because, in my opinion, perfection is such an individual thing.
Okay.
So I was honestly never tried to be perfect. Maybe that's the key point. I was trying to be true to myself and do what I feel is right in my own way. So, speaking of the beauty industry in general, of course, I feel pressure sometimes because you kind of have to follow the trends, or like, because you can't just pretend that you don't see them because you want to be up to date. So you kind of have to follow them, but at the same time, the most important thing, to be true to yourself and do it in your own way.
Yeah.
If we're talking about makeup, if we see like makeup trends, you don't necessarily need to copy and paste. You can definitely follow the idea, but implement it in your own way, because we all look different. We all feel different. Everyone wants to look like Kylie Jenner or Kim Kardashian, most of the people, but you can't. You can. So that was an issue with me working as a makeup artist sometimes, because people wouldn't be able to accept themselves. They want to see the perfect picture, and comparing, either bringing a Kylie Jenner picture and here's the Asian girl standing, let's say, and you can hypothetically look like Kylie Jenner because you have to understand, in your vision, perfection is Kylie Jenner, but we are different. So I think the most important thing is to be you, to do you.
Yeah.
So this is the best way probably to skip this like pressure of the industry. Yeah, because if you try to follow, you will lose yourself and you'll be one of 10 million other people trying to get the prize in the industry.
Yeah, and you kind of bringing up like the Kardashians and obviously the influence they've had on social media. Do you believe that social media and certain influencers sometimes it skews what it means to be beautiful? Meaning like the standard of beauty sometimes is just so feeling so high to especially young, very young women that it kind of makes it like it seems completely unattainable.
Absolutely, yes. And honestly, I feel sad about it because to me, a lot of people now look alike, which I don't like. And this is sad because I think people lose their individuality so fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can really, like, sometimes I would scroll my Instagram and I see the same face on like 10 pictures. They all look alike. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like, are we trying to clone each other? This is not no. So I totally don't like it. And like if you look at my feed on Instagram, I am trying, like, I wouldn't hide the fact that I do use Photoshop, but of course, because to me, it should be aesthetically pleasant to look at my pictures, right? So let's say, again, it all depends on what is beautiful for every different person. But to me, if I have pimples, just like a silly example, or something, or a scratch, or like underbag, like eye bags, because I didn't sleep because I have my son. Who cares? People want to see a beautiful picture, right? So of course I have to use it. But the key point to me is that you can still recognize my face. Because sometimes I would look at someone's picture and I would be like, it kind of looks like that's her, but that's not her.
Right.
Like
we were just talking about that the other day.
Yesterday, we literally just said that. We were like, hey, you know so-and-so? I'm like, yeah, I know so-and-so. How come she looks nothing like her Instagram? We were both like, we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, I think you can always use some tricks like Photoshop, like use
Facetune.
Yeah, a lot of people do use Facetune, but I just think that you have to look like you. And try less is more.
Yeah,
So,
even with makeup application, like in real life, like even though it's not on social media, but say like when you put your makeup on, it should be more of like an enhancing tool. When you take off your makeup, your man or whoever should be like, oh, I know you. It shouldn't be like a whole new face, a whole new skin complexion, a whole new set of eyes. Like, you know, and I used to be that girl. Like in my early 20s, I wore way too much makeup. And I really was a different person without makeup and with makeup, to the point where I wouldn't even leave the house without makeup at some point, you know, because I felt like, oh my God, if someone sees me out in the street, I'm talking about just running to Publix for like salt. And it's like, oh, I'm going to beat this face really fast because you never know who I might run into. My husband might be at Publix. And it would turn into this thing where it went from, oh, makeup is fun and it's to enhance me, to makeup is now my crutch. And I don't feel as beautiful without makeup.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing with Facetune and Photoshop. It should be like, hey, if I need it, if it's necessary to produce a beautiful photo, which I agree. Like I am of the mindset that like if I'm putting things out in social media, I would like them to be at a certain standard. I know you're really big on that as well, as far as your feed. But it also can't be to the point where you're now having to be a different person in order to meet that demand.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. That's why I try, like, for my stories, I'll sometimes show up in like a bonnet, or I'll go bareface a lot, just because I never wanted to be that I'm not comfortable with who I am.
Right.
Like, and I love to, there's a Keke Palmer, she deals with PCOS. And so her skin is always like breaking out and having challenges. And I love that she's now showing her face without her makeup many times.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can see, like, hey, yes, I may have what some people call blemishes and what kids usually call decorations. But that doesn't change, like who I am as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And so it always brings me back to the question or the feeling of, when do you feel you're most beautiful? Like, or when do you feel least beautiful? Because when you can honor and acknowledge when those times are, then you can make yourself, if you're not feeling as beautiful today, okay, well, what would get me more towards, feeling as though I'm beautiful? So for you, like, when would you say you feel you're most beautiful? And then when do you feel like you're least beautiful? And then what do you do to try and like change your perspective or your feeling about it? About how you feel about you.
Let me just add one more thing about social media. What I like about the trends now, the brands that I'm working with, they trying to push more for the real, not the picture posts, which I really like because you can't use any filters right now. This is like a must to show them and submit the content, no filters.
Nice.
And I absolutely love it. It started, I would say, like a couple months ago, that I see more and more that they require real videos instead of pictures. So as far as I know, you can't use the Photoshop in your videos. maybe I'm like behind the technology, but in the videos, you're basically the way you look. Plus, now as you can't use the filters, it makes it more real. So I think we're like slowly moving to the natural point again. About feeling the most beautiful. I think I feel the most beautiful when I feel comfortable in my own skin. And to be honest with you, I've had a couple of times the moments when I did not feel comfortable in my own skin. So, because like I told you, I'm not perfect, and the pictures or videos that you see on my Instagram, this is basically my working page. And of course, I wouldn't show so many of my low energy moments or insecurity moments. Why? Who cares about it, to be honest? People expect me to show beautiful pictures because that's my job, or makeup tutorials or anything. So I've had recently the moment when I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin after I had my son. And I think all the mothers will understand me because when you have a baby, the whole world changes in your head because you are not the same person, like in your head, not in your body. And to me, being a person in the beauty industry, it's even heavier because I understood that I had to come back to the industry as fast as I can. Plus, I'm also working as a model. It was like a double stress because I realized that my body is different. I don't feel comfortable being heavier, whatever, 20 pounds, even though I'm trying to be healthy, to work out, and it's not working. So I feel like something wrong is going on with me and I can't do
I
anything.
can relate to that. I'm still at the place that you were at. I'm there right now.
I think that's a normal thing. But like my doctor told me, and I actually agree with that. You have to give yourself time. And yes, it might take longer than you expect because I was expecting that I'll be back on track in like 2 months.
Me too.
And it took me pretty much 2 years. I don't want to scare you, but it took me 2 years.
It takes time
to kind of feel normal. To feel normal, you know, and to feel comfortable in your own skin. So those moments when I felt so uncomfortable, of course, that were the moments when I felt the least beautiful, I'll be honest. And the most beautiful, I would say now, probably, because now I know my body. I'm not trying to be a perfection anymore, because I was freaking out at some point, because I was like, oh my God, what's going on? I'm fat, like my hair falling off, like I am, like, what's going on,
Yeah.
And now I just accepted myself, and probably now I feel the most beautiful, just because I feel comfortable being the way I am today. Either it's still heavier than before, but I'm happy.
Oh, I love
What
that.
about you? What do you feel like? When do you feel you're most beautiful and then you're least beautiful?
I'll start with least first. So I feel my least beautiful when I'm triggered and I am not responding the way I would hope to those triggers. Because my lower self, her name is Lola. She is just ridiculous. She's very disrespectful. She's not always very kind. And so I feel my least beautiful when I'm not being kind to myself or others.
Okay.
I feel my most beautiful when I'm thriving in whatever it is I'm doing at that moment, whether it's traveling or being adventurous or loving on my partner. Like, I feel most beautiful when I'm doing things that I love or that I enjoy. Because it's like an inner type of beauty. And then, of course, when I get dressed up to go to a gala or something, then too. But like overall, when I'm like doing something that I really enjoy, I feel like, ooh, come on, Pinky in the brain, we can take over the world.
Yeah.
That's me. What about you?
What about you?
The most beautiful I've ever felt is when I was pregnant. When I was very pregnant, like when I was in my 3rd trimester. That's the most beautiful I've ever felt, but that's like an isolated time. But that's the most beautiful. I felt very sexy.
Yeah.
I felt like I was just floating on cloud 9. My pregnancy was awesome. And I just love how I felt. But since that's an isolated time, and I don't know if I'm ever going to be pregnant again, I also feel very beautiful when I'm in love.
Oh,
yeah. Like when I'm in love and when I feel like I just have this deep connection with another person, it makes me feel really beautiful, Yeah, like I love that. And not to say that my beauty or me feeling beautiful is vested in someone else, but I just like who I am when I'm in love. I like how I am to the person I'm in love with. I like myself in that space. I feel very feminine. I feel very sexy.
Yeah.
I just feel beautiful in that sense. And then the least beautiful is probably how I feel right now after having a baby. It was like pregnancy, and then it was like boosh, and everything blew up. And I'm working through it because I do naturally have a good amount of self-confidence that I've cultivated at this point. So I'm working through it, and I have the tools to work through it. And I have a wonderful partner to help me work through it, who I'm still in love with and helps me feel beautiful. But I think right now is probably the least beautiful I've ever felt, just because I'm trying to adjust to this new body. And I also agree with you that I don't feel beautiful when I'm not being kind. My lower self, her name is Elsa. She's an icy bitch. And she gets very cold and mean. And I also don't like myself at that space as well. Yeah. So I definitely, when I'm vibing low, I also feel pretty ugly.
Yeah. That lower self, ooh.
Yeah, she's not cute.
She's not
cute. My God, I'm sure no one's like, no, mine is absolutely terrible. I've never thought about it, but now I definitely should. I don't even have the name for this person, but I'll figure it out.
Find a name. Find a name. When you can name her, you can get that bitch on a leash.
Yes.
If you don't know, if she don't know your name, you don't know how to call her and be like, "Hey, girl, sit down." Okay.
Yeah.
Like, she's crazy as hell.
Yeah, like we're not doing this. Like I'll tell like my lower self sometimes when I feel like, her rearing her ugly head, I'll tell myself like, okay, Lola, I don't need your protection. We're good.
I got this.
We're good.
We're vibing up here. I got it.
We're up here. You're right
Oh my
here.
God.
I need you to get here. We're gonna have
Love
to
it.
sit down. Sit down. It's crazy too, because so many people, and beauty is absolutely subjective, right?
Yeah.
Like what's beautiful for one person might
Yes.
be, hideous for another.
Like beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah,
That's really
it truly
true.
is.
Yeah.
Like it truly is in the eye of the beholder, and it should be, right?
Yeah.
But for many folks, they feel as though that there's a privilege that comes with being beautiful, quote unquote beautiful. So you are, I mean, just there's no way around it. You are a stunning woman. Like there's no way to slice it. You're beautiful in every eye, in my
In
opinion.
all the eyes.
In all the eyes.
It's
In
not
all
subjective.
Thank you so much.
It is
it
what
just
it is.
is. It's objective. It's a fact. It's a fact.
Oh
now.
my God, you make me blush.
but how do you, because you truly are grounded, and like your kindness, the aroma of your kindness, like it emanates like even through the screen. So how do you use what we like to call pretty privilege? Like how do you use that to uplift other women? Because yes, you are gorgeous and stunning and all the things, but you're also kind. So how do you use your pretty privilege to uplift other women?
I love your questions, ladies. They're so, oh my God. Okay, about being like grounded. I truly believe that there are always people better than us, prettier than us, smarter than us. That's what keeps me on my feet. Because today a lot of people, for some reason, they compare themselves a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it's unhealthy and totally unnecessary, because you can always find something beautiful in every person. I truly believe in it. And you just have to like try to find this beauty, and not necessarily in the face or body or whatever. It can be something from within. Like I said, to me, beauty is a combo. But I definitely remember that there's someone more talented than me, always prettier, so that skinnier, if you want. Like, I'm just trying to stop comparing myself or labeling myself or something like that, And being beautiful, I think it is a privilege. I don't know if it's for good or bad thing, but of course, being in this industry, I feel like, let's say out of 10 people, if 9 people say she is beautiful, it kind of gives her a little bit of discount if something happens. Yes, but as beauty is something very subjective, you should always remember about it too, because everyone can find something in you. You just need to enhance it. The problem of young women today, they're trying to compare themselves and being Kim Kardashian, and they stop looking for something inside. And let's say looking in the mirror and say, you know what? Yeah, I have ugly nose, but like, let's say I have beautiful eyes. So let's focus on that part, And me being a makeup artist, it was a mission for me from the very beginning, because, as I said, I really believe that you can find something beautiful in every face if we talk about makeup. And my goal was to enhance that part. So, and I was trying to always convince my clients or my friends that don't look at yourself through the picture of this woman. Don't try to be her. You have better eyes, you have prettier lips, you have better hair. So let's just try to work on that part, so you will be definitely not less beautiful, maybe even more.
Yeah. I like
Yeah,
that.
and it's about enhancing and also rooting your beauty in something deeper than physical.
Yeah.
Because for me, I also keep in mind, like, not in a comparative way, but it's just like there's always going to be someone prettier, someone with a bigger ass, someone with more money, someone with all the things. But I know that there's only one me. So it's like when I walk into a room, I know that I'm going to be the most interesting person in this room to talk to. So it's not even about whatever physical beauty you may find attractive or whatever you see on me or you like my style or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's surface stuff, because if I really want you in my circle and I want you in my life, I want you to see past that anyways.
Yes.
So anybody that is always just attracted to your physical beauty and is only trying to get to know that part of you shouldn't really be on your radar anyways. Like for women, if a man is always just like, oh, you're so beautiful, I just really like how you look, and he's like so hung up on your physical, and he never tries to dig deep into your mind and to see if you're an attractive person inside, I think that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so
Definitely.
for sure. Right.
I've seen so many beautiful women who are empty.
Yes.
Be so beautiful physically, but they're so empty, and it's so sad.
Yes.
It is sad.
Yeah. Yeah. My fiance likes to say that you didn't do anything to be pretty. Like if you're just born that way, there's nothing that you did. So what about the real work of who you are on the inside? Like he's not very, I'll be like talking about a person, I'm like, oh, they're so beautiful. He'll be like, so like, who cares? Like you can be beautiful. That's just your genes. They got mixed up together and came out with a nice set of features with symmetry in your face. Like, congratulations, you're beautiful. Now what? You know, that's like literally what he says. I can't. And now what else do you have to offer?
What else?
You know, and I think sometimes with social media, women who see other women who they think are more beautiful than them, we feel like they have everything figured out. And we put them on a pedestal like, well, damn, her body's snatched, her waist is snatched, I'm sure her DMs are filled with men. And then you try to emulate that and try to step into that. And then you order that same outfit off Fashion Nova and it don't look like that on you, okay? Because you didn't get your body done, right?
Yeah.
So it's like sometimes you're trying to like aspire to something that is not even real. She don't look like that for real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if she was shaped like a refrigerator and she gets her body done, it's like there's nothing that you can. I can't say that.
Don't be proud of yourself. Yeah.
I don't mean it in a mean way, but I'm just saying that was Elsa.
That was Elsa.
Okay, come back in, Elsa. I'm just saying that if you get your body done, right? And you originally maybe had a shape that you were not in love with. And I'm not saying that everybody that gets their body done is really insecure on the inside, because I don't believe that. But if you're not doing the inner work while you're trying to fix the outer part of yourself, you're always still going to feel like that refrigerator.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do on the outside. Like I've had guys say like, yeah, she's a bad bitch, but her personality is trash, or she's insecure, or she's corny, or she's super jealous and psycho, or you know what I'm saying? And it's like, because you're doing all this stuff on the outside, but the inside is still oozing out. And there's nothing you can do to hide that. You can't patch up that stuff. You can't surgery and Botox that shit. It's like, if you're a dumbass, like it's just going to come out.
Absolute fact.
It just is. You have to do the inner, and I'm just saying all that to say, I'm being funny, but I'm saying all that to say that as opposed to getting hung up on how someone looks in the physical, I think there's just so much more to be learned about the insides. And not obviously, if you're attracted to someone, you're not looking at their insides, right? Like when you see someone on the street, it's not like, oh, he looks like he really might be really nice. Yeah, obviously physical attraction matters. Yeah. But I'm just saying you can't stop there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's even boring today already, because there are so many beautiful people, face done, body done. It's boring, you know. Show me something else.
For sure, yeah. Show me what else. Like, so okay, and what? Yeah. Like, and now what? Like, what are we doing now? And it's so funny. So with all this that we're talking about, with like being more than just, a pretty face, like having more, going deeper, what advice would you give for someone who is aspiring to be like a beauty influencer? Like, what advice would you give them about just even all the things, some of the things, one of the things? What advice would you give?
To be a beauty influencer is a full-time job. And people who want to be influencers should clearly understand it, because a lot of people, and I even hear this a lot, that what is like what is an influencer's job about?
Right.
Just to post a beautiful pictures. And here is the trigger. My bitch is coming out at this moment. No name bitch. But this is a full-time job because it's a mental and physical job.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So people who want to be influencers should understand that if we talk about mental work, you always have to learn. You always have to get the inspiration from somewhere on a daily basis. And it's extremely hard because me being a full-time mother, when I have my own issues from time to time, when I have zero energy, when I have my son on top of me and like 10,000 extra things in my head, I still have to find the inspiration from nowhere to create the content. So it's interesting and people keep looking, keep following and whatever. So it's like a very stressful job because me, sometimes I would freak out like, oh my God, I don't have a content for like next few 3-4 posts. And I normally have, let's say 6 posts in advance that I'm working with. So I'm like, okay, I can chill for like 2 days. It's a very stressful job.
Wow.
And I do have moments when I have zero inspiration. I just can't do anything. I would just sit with my brush in my hand and I would be like, you know what, fuck it. Let me just chill. Because like, I don't want to push myself just to do something, you know, I want to feel it. And when I don't feel it, just don't do it. Just let it go, you know?
Yeah. And you talking about being an influencer, just how hard it is to put yourself out there.
All the time.
That's why more people are not influencers. If it's so easy, why the fuck don't you do it? Right? Because it's not that easy.
Yes, it is not. And I'm not even talking about the physical part because you, like me, I'm doing everything by myself. Like I'm my own photographer, I'm my own editor. Pretty much I do everything by myself. And being a mother, it is hard. I honestly envy girls, influencers who have no responsibilities and they just have their full time to do like whatever, to do makeup, to do, and I envy them because you have so much time that you can really invest in your job and you're being lazy sitting there and like slipping, I don't know, doing some stupid things around, right? Me, I wish I had more hours than 24 a day because
we all don't have the same 24 hours.
We don't.
Yes, because physically it's hard. So for all the influencers who want to do it, this is not a game. This is not a joke. This is not something that you post one picture, being get dressed before on a Friday night before you go out to the club. Just take a picture, post it, and it's gonna work. It's not. And as I said from the very beginning, you have to be committed.
Yeah.
Go all in. If you decided to be an influencer, go all in.
Commit to it. And with us talking about like social media, and you know, obviously there are a lot of different opinions on who the responsibility should fall on, but there's been a very since 2008, which is when social media really started coming to the forefront on another level. MySpace was before that, but like Facebook, and then a few years later, Instagram. There's actually there's this society, I guess, that rates the happiness of countries.
Oh, yeah.
And Americans are significantly less happier today than they were in 2008. And it was a study that like tied in social media and all the things that have happened since the rise of social media on our emotional state since that time. And they were talking about the fact that because of social media, you know, there are these unrealistic things that people want or feel like they should be or want to attain. And I think beauty is one of, they didn't talk about beauty, but I thought about beauty. I was like, man, like that feels like beauty. And they were talking about the responsibility of social media and these founders of the social media platforms do they have any responsibility to the users to cultivate a platform that is less damaging to their users? So I kind of want to ask you, since you're an influencer, like what changes, and in a perfect world, we know they probably won't do it, but what changes do you think social media could implement to kind of prevent that perpetuation of like an unrealistic, unattainable, bizarre beauty standard?
Like I said, I see this trend that brands more and more fight with influencers against the filters. That's a one step for me, and I really respect it because I really wanna. If I'm called an influencer, I want to show the real thing to the followers, right?
Yeah.
So just adding 3 masks on my face and like trying to
Masks.
look way better than I am, it's kind of unfair, I would say.
Yeah.
And so I think if we're talking about beauty, probably restrict using all this filters or anything, and it starts from influencers, because when you can't, so the more brands are going to do it and restrict this, the better it will be. So,
and even if let's say they didn't restrict it, like, okay, because free will's a thing. Even if kind of like, how anytime you're talking about COVID-19 or
the disclaimer.
Yeah, the disclaimer.
Like this post includes information about COVID-19. Go to see. Or
this post has, heavy filtering. You two are still beautiful. Something.
Post has 3 masks, or this post is not the original. Click to see the original post. Something that just brings it back to earth. Because we're really seeing people's highlight reel, and we're comparing our real whole life to someone's like little snippet of what they choose to portray. And I think that's why it is so damaging, and why it's obviously not the only reason Americans are unhappy. There's a bunch of other shit that goes on.
A whole lot of things.
But it was just a study around how social media is a part of the trend, a part of the downward slope. So I just am, interested to see how an influencer would see that, because some people, you were talking about influencers kind of having to do that with their brands. Someone that we had on the podcast who's an influencer, Cornelia, Coco at Coco Beauty, Beauté. When she does her stories now, she's trying to not use filters even on her stories.
Oh, wow.
And she'll be like, I'm trying to do filter free, guys, and I love just seeing someone that she's obviously very influential, and she's this brand, and she will like say, and she's not this perfect chick. Like she'll have like a pimple. She'll like have no makeup on. She'll like, cause I've seen women be like, I'm going to go filter free. But now every time they come on, their face is completely made up. She will be like in the bed, like filter free. And I'm like, yes, show these girls what it really is.
What it looks like.
And you can do both.
Yeah.
It's okay to be super dressed up and be a glamorous person. But I love what you do, especially Alicia, where like on your feed, you kind of keep a certain aesthetic, which I think is completely okay. That's your brand. That's how you sell yourself. That's how you get money. That's how you get endorsed. That's how you do all your things. But I do like that balance of having it on your story where we see the real, we see the hair wrap, we see all the things. And I feel like it gives a better overall picture of who you really are. And I think, believe it or not, people will connect with that on a deeper level than we realize.
Of course.
Yeah, because people admire people who can just be themselves, because again,
it's hard.
It is hard to put yourself out there. That's why I think influencers are phenomenal. I'm just like, wow, like I have a hard time. Like every time I post something on social media, I get anxiety every single time.
Oh, wow. Really?
Every time. Every time.
Come on.
Yeah. That's why I much prefer stories, because I know it'll be gone in 24 hours. But putting shit on my feed, I just like post it and like throw my phone. Like, okay, all right, I'll check it in a few hours.
No, honestly, I think that you should show yourself on your Instagram or whatever social media, the real you. Like I try to show myself the real me. Sometimes now I have to even show my body. Why? Because I hear that more and more. like she's probably like doing something with her Photoshop and stuff. So in order to show that I do have this body, that's me.
Yeah, her
Yeah,
body
you gotta
was
like
sick, y'all. If you're
prove.
not watching if you're not watching this on YouTube, I remember when I first saw her page, I was just like, her body cannot be. This is impossible. Impossible. I was like, her body is amazing. How do you have this body after a child? And I remember I actually met her in person, and I was just like, wow, no, this is the real deal. And I think you ended up like saying it, like mentioning it, that you hadn't had any work done. And isn't it crazy that so much people are doing so many things to themselves? Like now we can't even believe that real bodies exist like that. Like,
Exactly.
isn't that kind of like a fucked up way of the world kind of turning? It's like you're so used to the fake that you don't recognize real. Ooh,
That was good.
But to be honest, I see a lot of stereotypical thinking because
Yes.
let's be honest, Asians, that's what the question they get every time. Asian, how come you can have curves? I'm sorry.
You got a booty.
It happens sometimes. Like it happens, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing that I hear more and more. Like why you so tan, why you have the butt, why you have the waist, and that's exactly what she's saying. People stop believing that real things can exist. Yeah,
It does
unfortunately.
exist.
They do exist.
We do exist, you know. Asians with a different type of body exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
variety. And not because your body looks like what somebody went and got done doesn't mean that your body is not real. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Or just because you don't need, there are people like really like you're naturally a beautiful person. You don't need the filters. And some people feel like, oh, there's no way anyone's that beautiful. Or even you can talk to somebody and somebody's just I see like people being really smart, and it's just like people believe, oh, there's no way you're just that smart for real. Like you're just full of shit. Like people like, or there's no way you're that kind. There's no way you're that sweet. There's no way that you're this real person because people are so used to the bullshit. Yeah. I've definitely peeped that. And it was definitely, I've had moments for myself where I've had to check myself with that and be like, no, that can be her real body. No, she can really be that fucking beautiful. Like, no, like this is real life for some people, not because you have to maybe add a filter or two means that somebody else has to.
Yeah.
Of course.
And with the filter, I just want just a couple makeup tips, just a couple, not the secret sauce, just like 2 or 5.
Especially when things that you might see on social media that like you just want to like tweak, or you see trends that happen a lot and you're just like, oh honey, no.
Yes. So number one, girls or women who try to cover their imperfections, the skin imperfections, they try to add more of a coverage. Do not do it.
Oh.
Because the more you add, the more obvious it's going to be. That's tip number one.
Okay.
For the people who have imperfections, don't bake. Do not do it.
Don't bake.
Baking, the technique of the baking shows even more, to be honest. So you have to be very careful with baking because after Kim Kardashian thing, everyone started baking. But I'm sorry, Kim Kardashian invests a lot of money in her skincare routine. So her skin probably is flawless without anything on it. But again, speaking of copying and comparing yourself, try to use less and it's going to definitely look more. And I would give another tip. Do your brows before the foundation. Because this way, to me, it's going to look more natural. Because I don't know if you ladies felt this when you do your eyebrows after the foundation, it kind of looks a little greasy because like when you use the pencil on top of the foundation, it's more obvious.
Yeah.
Versus when you use it on your bare skin, it looks less shiny, more natural.
Love that.
Probably.
That's a great tip. I'll take that one. All right.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Right.
Listen, this was so freaking good. I really, really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Like, where
Me
can we
too.
stay connected? Where can we find you? Like, all the things.
Well, I only have my Instagram page, and it's Asian Queen One. Very modest nickname,
That's
but
okay.
it is what it is.
You got to honor who you are. You are a queen. Yes. And you're Asian. So there we go. I love it.
So, yeah, that's my only page, and this is pretty much 90% of my life there.
I love that. So then we will make sure we stay connected. You can connect with Triggered AF PC on all the platforms. You can go to our website, triggeredafpodcast.com. You can stay connected with me, Alicia Reese, on all the platforms. And Danny, where can we stay connected?
I'm at Danny Foster Coaching on Instagram, Danny Foster on Facebook, and DannyFosterCoaching.com. Thank you so much, Yuliya, for joining us and talking about this. I don't really think I've ever heard a conversation like this with an influencer. When I have listened to influencers on different podcasts, it's always like the typical questions. So we really did want to dig deep and like have a different take at it. So I appreciate you being honest with us and just open and just kind of speaking your truth around your experience as a beauty influencer. So thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please go to the YouTube and watch this one so you can see how fine she is, y'all, because she's beautiful. And we thank you guys so much for your time and for sharing this space with us. And enjoy the rest of your day and tune in next time for another episode of Triggered AF, the podcast.
I want to thank you, ladies.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for this amazing podcast. As I told you before, this is my first podcast, and I am so happy that it happened with you and your questions. Thank you so much. You really helped me to think about it and really think about it. I love when questions really make me feel and think. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And yeah, I hope we're going to talk about something else pretty soon. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Triggered AF. Remember, don't be consumed by your triggers. Confront it and then work to release it. Whether you leave us more triggered than you came or you're feeling like you've been open to a new perspective, our hope is that you've grown. Make sure to share this episode with a friend who's trigger happy and tag us while you're listening. We can't wait to hear from you. Until next week, pull it together, girl.